Welcome to my kitchen. When the weather turns cold, you want warm, hearty foods to warm your soul. So today I'm making one of Richard's all-time favorites. It's his delicious crock-pot beef stew. It's slow cooking, filled with wonderful flavors, and will make your whole family come back for seconds. So let's get started. Now, even though crock-pot cooking is slow cooking, it's really a huge time saver for busy people. You can prepare your dish, set the timer, and go about your day. Then when you come home, the house is filled with wonderful aromas and dinner's ready. I have a crock pot here that is so handy because this removable insert has an aluminum core, so I can saute onions, sear the meat, then put it right into the crock. If you don't have this kind, you're going to want to start this recipe in a skillet, then transfer to your crock pot. Either way, this dish is fantastic. Today I'm using 1 pound organic beef that's been cut into chunks for stew. Organic is so important today with all the chemicals used in food processing. I mean, you've just got to go organic. You know, a lot of people mistakenly think chicken is healthier than beef, but many studies show that it's not. In fact, the fat content and cholesterol are the same. If you ask for lean cuts like I have today, and like we always say, everything in moderation. Try to eat vegetarian a couple meals a week, and then you can enjoy your meat. Okay, so I've got my meat into the bowl here. I'm going to season this with my steak seasoning. You've got to write this down. It's fantastic. It's simply a mixture of 1 teaspoon sea salt, 1 teaspoon black pepper, a tablespoon garlic powder, and a tablespoon of onion powder. Just mix that up, put it into a jar with a tight fitting lid. Keep it in. I'm going to tell you, this is a staple that every kitchen should have. This is just wonderful. All right, just mix that up, and then we're going to sear that meat. So I have my removable liner already on a medium-high heat, so you want this to get pretty good and hot. I'm just going to add a little olive oil, and then I'm going to sear my meat. Just kind of spread that around. My handles aren't too hot just yet, so here we go. We'll get this meat in here. Now you want to get that on a good medium-high. You want to bring it to a high enough temperature to kill the bacteria as well as bring out the flavor and make the meat tender. So you're going to want to cook this a good 5 to 7 minutes until it's browned on all sides. You don't want to make it tough though. You just want to cook it until it's browned. Well, while that's cooking, let's talk about the benefits of using a slow cooker. There are basically 2 types of slow cookers. Multi-purpose, which has the heating coil on the bottom and has a temperature indicator. It cycles on and off to keep the temperature stable. And then there's the continuous type, which when turned on, stays on. This type has the heating coils around the sides and has 2 fixed temperature settings. Low, which is 200 degrees, and high, which is 300 degrees. So to start with, pick your size according to the number of people you usually cook for. Or if you routinely cook in bulk, buy 2 sizes. This is really important. For instance, a 3.5 to 4.5 quart is good for 3 to 4 people, while a large one like I have here is good for more than 8. Also, it's very important to use the size a recipe's given for, or adapt that recipe accordingly. You want the contents to fill about 1/2 to 2/3 of the crock pot for the recipe to cook correctly, especially in this type like I have, where the heating coils wrap around the sides. Well, now let's go check on our meat, shall we? Let's see how that's searing up. It is just beautiful. Let's turn that. Now, I've got to tell you, it is so important to sear that beef thoroughly when you're cooking in a crock pot, because like we said, that only gets 300 degrees, and you're going to want to have that cooked good just so you don't get any bacteria. That looks perfect. Now we're going to add our onion, leek, and garlic. I'm just going to have to hold my pan here still because it's just wanting to slip around on me. So we've got our onion, leeks. I'm telling you, leeks are fantastic. If you don't know what they are when you go into the produce section, just look for the great big green onion. And I mean, they give such a mild and wonderful flavor. And then our couple cloves of garlic. I like to use at least 3 cloves of garlic minced well. Now I'm going to just stir that up and saute that for about 2 to 3 minutes more. That is looking good. Look how it's already caramelizing. That is just beautiful. Okay, now let's add our veggies. You know, beef stew is one of those dishes that can be made many ways. I like to experiment with different vegetable combinations to keep it interesting, also to clean out my refrigerator. But I always start with 1 onion, 1 leek, and 3 cloves garlic chopped. Then I can add whatever I have on hand. So today I'm going to start with a couple large carrots that I have chopped. Now, again, since this is a stew, you're going to want bite-sized chunks. So we'll just get our carrots in there. I have a package of frozen green beans for crunch, but by the way, this one's real important too. If you use frozen vegetables, when you're doing crock pot cooking, you've got to thaw them first so you don't compromise the cooking temperature. I'm going to give that just a little stir. And then I'm going to add some zucchini. I love zucchini and summer squash. I mean, that combination is so great, and it gives it such texture and a soft flavor. Got my zucchini, summer squash, zucchini, and then some cauliflower. Now, a lot of people don't really like the flavor of cauliflower, but I find that it really melds well in a stew, and you've got to add it. I mean, that cruciferous vegetable is so important. The health benefits, you could just go on and on. Okay, now that looks really pretty, doesn't it? Let's get some mushrooms. Baby bellas are my favorite. These are also known as cremini mushrooms. Now remember, you've got that indole-3 carbinol in these cruciferous, and in the mushrooms, you're going to get some beta-glucans, and you know how important that is. Now look how pretty that is. All the vegetables we're using today are packed with anti-inflammatory vitamins A, C, and K, as well as beta-carotene and folate. So we've got that stirred up. Now it's time to add the broth. I really wish that you'd get into organic cooking. Find the organic broth if you can prepared. It saves a lot of time, and it's not too high in sodium. That's important. So what I'm going to do today, my recipe calls for about 5 cups, but here's what's important. You remember, you want to fill this to a half to 2/3 full. Oh, listen to that go in. See, that's just perfect. We've got, with the broth, it comes up to about half. We're going to give that a quick stir and then add our herbs. The herbs today, rosemary. Ooh, I love rosemary, marjoram, and thyme. They give it such flavor, and they smell so good. We'll just give that a quick stir, and then we'll set it to cooking. There we go. Now we'll just put on our lid. Actually, what I'm going to do now, you're going to transfer this. If you had to do this in a skillet, then you would have added along, back in here, but then you've got to get this transferred over there. So be sure you put on your hot pads. It's important. We're going to put this in our crock pot. Get the lid set on it. There we go. I already have it set. Now we're going to cook this for 2 hours on high. Then I'm going to switch it down to low for an additional 8 hours. Here's something we like to do. Richard always likes to make this in the evening, and we cook it overnight. And that's a great tip. Another important tip when you want to do crock pot cooking: resist the temptation to lift that lid during the cooking process. Just lifting the lid once will lower the temperature enough, so you'll have to add 30 minutes to the cooking time. If the recipe calls for you to add an ingredient, they figured that out in the total cooking time, so you don't have to adjust. But if it doesn't ask you to lift the lid, then try not to. It's that easy. When you come home, dinner's ready. This is just delicious, served with an side salad and crusty whole wheat bread. Oh, look at this. Isn't it just beautiful? So we'll just ladle that into a bowl. That is just beautiful. This is the kind of food that you want to make a nice big bowl full and make a meal out of. That's so much better than having all those fast foods, is it not? This is truly comfort food at its best, and it's one you can feel good about making for your family. After all, isn't that what cooking's about? I hope you enjoy making this, and I'm sure it's going to become one of your favorites. For a copy of this recipe and for crock pot tips, log on to my website, Print Off and Enjoy. Well, that's it for this one, and please stay tuned. We'll be right back for more of your help.